What's up, YouTube? Travis here, Break Loose Arts. Welcome back to the channel. I wanted to today kind of talk about finding meaning in your work, finding your artistic voice. I thought I'd do it a little different this time. I got an old time lapse that I'd like to share with you guys while I kind of talk about how I found meaning within this piece, how I found kind of my artistic voice within this. So without further ado, here's the time lapse. This painting is called the Gummy Ghost. This was a commission I did back a couple years ago for a friend who kind of just gave me, the go ahead to do whatever I wanted. They wanted a large painting and just let me, let my brain go wild and do whatever I wanted. And I do a lot of commission work. It's not my favorite. I would rather kind of dive into my own psyche and work out my own stuff. But, there's something to doing commission work where you don't have to think as much. It's very, here's the idea, now execute. And there's something easier, I would say, about doing that than kind of coming up with your own ideas. It's easier to follow a directive than make up your own directive. So that was kind of what made me think of, doing a video talking about finding meaning within your art. I think that it's easy to kind of play the background in your art life where you kind of just create stuff and let the art do the talking. And, we don't analyze things too much, but I think it's really important to kind of figure out why you create what you do. It took me a long time to kind of dive into my own psyche and figure out why I paint what I paint. And I think when you're younger, it's like you don't care much, it's all instinctual or intuitive. You're not really too concerned with like formulating sentences about your paintings. I just wanted to draw. Like I just thought I could create some cool images and people respond to that and it's cool. And people get their own interpretations out of your artwork, and that's super cool too. And I'm not saying anything against that. I think that art should always have some kind of mystery to it where some kind of disconnect between the artist and the audience where they're kind of interpreting what the artist was trying to say, or maybe they're coming up with their own interpretations about the work. I think that that's super valuable in art, and I never mean to discount that. But I also think, I enjoy going to a museum and seeing a plaque and maybe learning a bit about the artist, maybe learning about a bit about the piece. Like, if anything, it usually just enhances my appreciation for it. And so with that thought, it's always nice to have some kind of context. And I notice when people ask me about my work, I think when I was younger, I used to come out with the answers just like I didn't know most of the answers to questions. Like, okay, so if someone says, what do you paint? And they've never seen your art, but they want to know what kind of art do you make? And that's kind of a tough question because you want to show them. And what I've realized over the years is that you're not always going to be around your art to share that you're an artist and to talk about your work. So you have to find a way to speak about your work as if no one can see the art. And I think that's a valuable skill as an artist, is to really think about what it is that you create and how you can explain it as if no one's even looking at it. Now, most of the time people will, you'll have a phone on you, you can explain your work, but it's more of the idea to get to know your art and know why it is that you create what you do. I think that is where we find meaning in our work. I think that's where we find our artistic voice. I think that it changes the way that you create work when you have a good understanding about who you are and what you want to push out into the world. When I was younger, I feel like I just wanted to create. Like, I just wanted to make cool pictures and paint cool things. And, that was great at the time, and it like served me well to like learn all the fundamentals, learn perspective, learn anatomy, learn all the basics. But as soon as I could do all that stuff and it wasn't so much of a challenge, I kind of was like, okay, well, now that I can paint whatever I want, like, what do I paint? And I think that that's where, this whole idea of like, okay, what's my meaning? Like, what do I mean by all this? That's when that came about, that question. So, I think that's more of an advanced level question when you think about it. It's like, now that you have the skills, like how are you gonna pay the bills, I would say. And so, I think I started kind of diving into why I create so much, like what it is that I'm trying to put forward, and just like really analyzed myself and thought about the things. And it all led back to my childhood and like why I love art. And, I think that I've always had this kind of appreciation for art because it took me out of a really bad place when I was growing up. So my dad passed away when I was 6 years old. I had two older sisters, and they went through the same thing with me. And then 2 years later, my mom got diagnosed with toxic shock syndrome. And luckily she survived, but for a while there she was very sick, and me and my two siblings kind of didn't know what our future held for us. And being that young and that kind of trauma, I developed night terrors, which kind of are like a sleep paralysis, but you're awake. If you've seen the movie Insidious, it's kind of like that, like if you've seen that movie. But it's like sleepwalking in a nightmare, and you're wide awake. And so, as a 6-year-old to like 8 to 10, I think those were the years that I was experiencing this. I was just like terrified to go to sleep. I thought demons were trying to like take over my body. I thought, I didn't know what to think, but all I knew was I was afraid to go to sleep every night, and I started staying up late all the time and showing up to school and having these like falling asleep in class and having these episodes in class in front of my peers. And like, I just kind of started falling behind in class, and I know that my teachers were concerned. And so they enrolled me in this program for kind of troubled kids. And we'd all like, take time out of the day to go sit in this room with this teacher who knew some stuff about art therapy. And so we started painting and drawing, mostly drawing, and kind of drawing out like our feelings. And like, it was kind of like corny looking back at it, but it really helped me as like a young kid. Like I started kind of taking control of my imagination by learning how to draw and paint. And so for me, that's like what my art started with. It's like just kind of getting me out of this dark period in my childhood. And, I think that's when I think of meaning. It's like, this is why I still create. Like, this is something that's stayed with me for a long time and made me love art. It's like, I saw the change within myself. And like getting older, it's become my career and like what I do to make a living. And that, that's a good and bad thing. There's times when, I'd like to just separate the two, or just do art for fun. Or sometimes art doesn't feel as fun because I'm, working so hard at it. But it's a blessing. Like, I get to do this. So I always try to remain and like keep those feelings in the back of my mind when I create, and like find meaning there, and kind of stem my artistic voice from that place. And it's probably why my art is very colorful. I like to paint like from the imagination, and Yeah, and I think that this piece really kind of speaks to that that idea of like me kind of working out my childhood stuff into this painting. So this painting was called the Gummy Ghost, and I kind of looked at it as like an imaginary friend painting. Like I was thinking of this kid kind of summoning her imaginary friend, which is this kind of rainbow jellyfish star character with these eyeballs and like wearing this mask type of thing. And I think subconsciously it kind of goes back to, my childhood of like using art as a way to heal yourself or like to protect yourself. Because, with the night terror thing, I feel like when I found art, that kind of became my protector in a way. Like I was able to manipulate my imagination and make it work for me rather than against me. And I kind of relate that to this little girl in this painting because she's kind of in this dream world. She's alone. Kind of the way I felt as a kid, like in this big dreamscape, but you're alone. And like, she's drawing with chalk. So I have her doing the art thing. She's drawing this circle and kind of summoning her protector spirit. And that was the whole concept of the painting. And like, I got this cool like meaning out of it from my own childhood that like made me really like fall in love with this painting and like fall in love with making it and thinking about it. And to this day, I still love this painting. This is like years later and I'm just now doing this video. So, I don't really have that connection sometimes with some of my other work. I feel like, ideas can come and go. I can like be really excited about something and then kind of be over it quickly and just want to move on to the next thing. But I've noticed when I really spend time on like developing a meaning or like some kind of extra like voice within my work, those paintings stand the test of time for myself. Like I end up really loving them over time. And I think that, just speaking to like the things that you've been through and trying to develop paintings and artwork from that place, from like this internal place, rather than just like, I want to draw cool paintings, I want to draw cool images. I think it's like almost working backwards because you're working from the inside out rather than the outside in, or like from the surface level and then going deeper. You're kind of going deep and you're coming from a deep place and then bringing out something, surface level that can draw people in. So I don't know if that's something that you guys relate with. Please comment and let me know if I'm making any sense to you guys. But it's just something, it's a cool approach that I've kind of taken on in my older years, I guess, because I never used to like really think about these things. I would just paint. I would just draw and paint and do stuff like that. But I think I was kind of missing something where it was like, well, this, like, how does this reflect myself or like what I feel inside? And I don't know, with this painting, I kind of think I tapped into that a little bit more. And like this kid just like in this dream world and like trying to summon some protector spirit who's also kind of like a mask just to ward off the evil. I think that really goes in with the night terror stuff that I had as a kid. And yeah, so I think that that's, how I find meaning sometimes, is just trying to relate things to my life or work from my life outward, and try to remember to do that more often. Like not everything is going to be some deep spiritual connection that I have to the artwork. I do, like I said, I do a lot of commission work. I do a lot of things where that type of work is not necessary. Illustration stuff where I'm kind of just, talking about a story that's already existing. But having all these, ways of working and ways of thinking about art, I think they all kind of interact anyway. So picking up different ideas about creating art is never like, a waste of time. If anything, I just want to learn more and more about art And like, I don't know, I have that self-drive, and I think that all stems from, you know, my childhood and trying to get out of the funk, you know. Like, I think that's why we all make art. It's like it's like a salvation place. It's a place to like really kind of, I don't know, heal ourselves and like understand ourselves. So I just encourage like everyone to kind of do that deep dive into their own psyche, figure out why they do what they do, and enjoy your art. Like, just keep painting and keep going. You know, the world just needs more art right now. And I know people can feel kind of discouraged right now with like how easy it might be to press a button and come and spit out an image with like AI and stuff. I think that sort of undermined like the idea of, you know, making pictures and making artwork. But it's some, you know, making art is so human. Like, nothing can ever replicate that. And I don't think anyone should ever worry about, you know, having to compete with that. Like, we're all just kind of our own people. And so we're all going to bring our own ideas to the table. And the best thing we can do as artists is learn how to talk about that and learn how to express that to other people, because it's the way of connection. It's the way that we're all going to end up kind of coming together on and celebrating each other's art. So I hope that this video's kind of helps anyone who's kind of feeling a little bit lost about like what their style is or their art voice is. It's really just tapping into your own psyche, your own thing, and kind of bringing that from within yourself to the outside world, and letting people know who you are and not being afraid of that. And you know, I'm pretty new to YouTube and trying to like express myself, but I just feel like coming on here, trying to be authentic, letting you guys know who I am is kind of a step outside of my comfort zone, and something that I can maybe, I don't know, learn how to do better. And this is the painting. This is the Gummy Ghost, the protector of the realm. This is kind of my little walk around video of it. I still love this painting so much. I've got prints of it for sale. If anyone's interested, if this connected with you, let me know. I'm gonna put my website in the link and or in the bio or whatever. And then you guys can, if you want to subscribe and like this video, I'll try to put out more. I'll try to do more content. I don't know. This is kind of new to me, so hope you guys liked it. Break loose hearts, baby.